Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to you about something that we all face at one point or another: sadness. Yes, I'm talking about that feeling that sometimes weighs us down, that sense of discouragement that seems to swallow up our spirit. But I'm here to tell you, don't be sad. I'm not saying you won't ever feel down or upset. No, that's part of the journey. But I'm here to remind you of something that's even more powerful than sadness. Emotions are an essential part of who we are as human beings. They are the signals that guide us through life, influencing the choices we make and the way we interact with the world around us. When it comes to sadness, it's easy to want to push it away, deny it, or feel embarrassed by it. But I want to remind you that sadness is just another emotion, one that is as valid as any other. What does it mean to embrace your emotions? It means allowing yourself to truly feel without judgment, without guilt. It means accepting that it's okay to feel sad just as it's okay to feel happy, angry, or even frustrated. Too often society teaches us that we need to be strong, that we need to suppress our emotions to appear tough or resilient. We hear things like, "Don't cry," or "Just get over it." But the truth is, emotions are not something to be ashamed of. They are part of what makes us human, part of what connects us to each other. When you allow yourself to embrace your emotions, you are giving yourself permission to experience life fully. Think about it. Emotions give depth to our experiences. They teach us about what we care about, what we value, and what we need. Sadness in particular is a powerful teacher. It often shows up when we've faced a loss, disappointment, or unmet expectation. It may arise when we see the gap between where we are and where we want to be. But this is not a negative thing. Sadness is telling you that something matters. It's telling you that there's something in your life that has meaning, that you care deeply about, and that it's okay to mourn when it's affected or lost. When you try to push sadness away, you aren't allowing yourself to process it. Instead, you're storing up negative emotions that can pile up over time. Over time, this can lead to emotional numbness, or worse, to more intense feelings of frustration and resentment. Instead of feeling sadness and working through it, you begin to run from it. But emotions cannot be outrun. They will come back, often when you least expect it. So when sadness knocks on your door, welcome it, sit with it, understand it, let it flow through you. The process of embracing your emotions is not about giving in to them or letting them control you. It's about acknowledging them without fear or shame. When you feel sadness, you can honor it, but you can also make a conscious choice about how to move forward. You might cry, you might reflect, or you might share your feelings with someone you trust. But at no point do you need to let sadness define you or limit you. You are not your emotions. They're a part of you, but they do not determine your worth. We have this misconception that our emotions are weaknesses, that feeling something deeply makes us vulnerable. But emotions, even sadness, show strength. They show a willingness to be real. By embracing your sadness, you give yourself permission to heal. You open the door to self-compassion, understanding, and personal growth. The more we allow ourselves to feel, the more we learn about ourselves and our needs. It's in these moments of emotional vulnerability that we can find the deepest sources of our resilience and strength. The key is to never shut off, but to open up. Open up to the full range of human experience. Sadness will come, but it will also go. And each time you will be stronger for having allowed it to pass through you. Sadness is a powerful and deeply human emotion, one that often feels all-encompassing when we're in the midst of it. It can cloud our judgment, alter our mood, and make it seem like the weight of the world is on our shoulders. During those times, it's easy to feel as though sadness will never leave, that it's here to stay forever. But the truth is, sadness is temporary. It does not last forever, and it does not define us. It is just one phase in the emotional spectrum. One that, like all emotions, comes and eventually fades away. One of the first things we need to remember when we experience sadness is that it's natural. Life is filled with ups and downs, and moments of sadness are an inevitable part of that journey. Whether it's caused by the loss of something or someone, a personal failure, or an unmet expectation, sadness is a response to life's challenges. But just like every other emotion, it doesn't last forever. The key to understanding this is to remember that emotions are fluid, not fixed. They ebb and flow, coming and going with the changing circumstances of our lives. When you're feeling sad, it might seem like that sadness will stretch on indefinitely. You might think, I'll never feel happy again, or I'll always be this way. But this is the trick that sadness plays on us. It tries to convince us that it is permanent. The reality is, sadness doesn't last forever. It may feel overwhelming in a moment, but just as storms eventually clear, your sadness will dissipate as well. It's important to remind yourself that no emotion, no matter how intense, stays forever. Sometimes the best way to deal with sadness is to remind yourself that it's temporary. This too shall pass. Those words carry a profound truth. Sadness, like all emotions, is not constant. It's a passing wave, a momentary storm. Over time, the intensity of sadness diminishes, and eventually the sun will shine through. Change is inevitable, and sadness will give way to joy, hope, or peace as time progresses. However, during those moments when sadness feels all-consuming, it can be helpful to take a step back and acknowledge that you have the power to influence your emotional state. While you can't always control the circumstances that bring sadness into your life, you can control how you respond to it. By taking action to address the source of your sadness, whether it's through talking to someone, engaging in self-care, or taking steps to improve your situation, you are actively moving through the emotion, not getting stuck in it. Another way to understand that sadness is temporary is by reflecting on past experiences. Think back to previous times in your life when you felt deeply sad. At the time, you may have thought that the sadness would never end. But now, looking back, you can see that you did eventually feel better. You've made it through every moment of sadness you've experienced before, and you will make it through this one too. Remembering that you've overcome past challenges can give you the strength to believe that this current sadness will not last forever. Ultimately, sadness is a reminder that life is a series of changing emotions and experiences. It is a moment in time that will pass, and with patience, resilience, and time, you will emerge on the other side stronger, wiser, and more capable of facing the next chapter of your journey. Our perspective shapes how we experience the world and how we handle the emotions that come with it. The way we interpret events, challenges, and setbacks has a profound impact on how we feel and respond. When we face difficult situations or feel overwhelmed by sadness, it's easy to get stuck in a narrow view of the circumstances. But what if we could shift our perspective? What if we could change the way we see things, and in doing so, change how we experience them? The first step in shifting your perspective is to realize that how we see the world is not the only way to see it. Often we get caught up in our own lens, influenced by our past experiences, fears, or negative thought patterns. When you're in the midst of a difficult time, it's easy to feel as though there's no way out, that the situation is hopeless, or that things will never improve. But this is often a limited view. There are always other angles to consider, other ways to frame your challenges. For example, when we face adversity, we tend to focus on the loss, the hardship, or the pain. But what if we chose to see those moments as opportunities for growth? Every setback carries a lesson. Every challenge offers a chance to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. A failure is not the end of the road. It's simply a detour, a course correction. By shifting your perspective to see the potential for growth, you begin to transform the way you experience challenges. What once seemed like an insurmountable obstacle becomes a stepping stone to something greater. Another powerful way to shift your perspective is to change how you view setbacks. Instead of seeing them as evidence of personal inadequacy, try viewing them as a natural part of the process. Success is not a straight line. It's filled with twists, turns, and detours. Many of the world's most successful individuals have experienced failure after failure before they finally achieved their goals. The difference is that they didn't allow those failures to define them. Instead, they used them as stepping stones, as lessons to be learned and as motivation to keep going. Gratitude is another powerful tool in shifting your perspective. When we're focused on what's wrong, it's easy to overlook what's right. But by actively practicing gratitude, we change our mental focus from scarcity to abundance. Even in moments of sadness or difficulty, there is always something to be grateful for. Gratitude helps us to zoom out from our current struggles and recognize the larger picture. It reminds us that we have so much to be thankful for: our health, our relationships, the opportunities in our lives. By focusing on these positives, we can reframe our current situation and gain a sense of peace and perspective. Furthermore, shifting your perspective requires you to look beyond the immediate circumstances and consider the long-term view. In the midst of difficulty, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. We become so focused on the pain, the struggle, or the disappointment that we forget that this moment is just one chapter in a much larger story. What seems impossible now might be a memory in the future, and you'll look back with a sense of pride at how far you've come. When you can train your mind to see the bigger picture, you begin to see that every experience, even the painful ones, is part of the grand narrative of your life. In shifting your perspective, you also empower yourself to act. When you see your challenges differently, you begin to feel more in control. You start to see options, possibilities, and solutions that you may have missed before. Instead of feeling stuck or defeated, you become proactive and resilient. By taking a step back and looking at things from a different angle, you realize that you have the power to navigate through life's ups and downs with confidence and determination. Our thoughts shape our reality. The way we speak to ourselves, our inner dialogue, has an undeniable influence on how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. Self-talk is the voice inside your head, and often it's the most powerful voice in your life. It can either lift you up or hold you back. Negative self-talk can feed your fears, amplify your doubts, and reinforce feelings of inadequacy. On the other hand, positive self-talk can empower you, build your confidence, and create the foundation for success. Learning how to consciously shift our self-talk is one of the most transformative tools we have at our disposal. The first step is to recognize that your thoughts are not always facts. Often we allow ourselves to believe that the negative things we think are truths. For example, if you think, "I'm not good enough," it's easy to internalize that as a permanent condition. But this is a limiting belief. It's not a reflection of who you truly are. Recognizing that these thoughts are just that, thoughts, can be a powerful way to break free from their grip. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who gets to decide which thoughts you listen to, which ones you believe, and which ones you allow to pass through your mind without holding any weight. One way to shift negative self-talk is by replacing it with positive affirmations. Positive affirmations are simple, powerful statements that reinforce your self-worth, capabilities, and strengths. They work by reprogramming your subconscious mind, replacing limiting beliefs with more empowering ones. For example, instead of saying, "I'll never be successful," you can say, "I am capable of achieving my goal." Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," you can say, "I am worthy of success and happiness." These affirmations may seem small or insignificant at first, but when repeated consistently, they begin to shift your mindset. The key to making affirmations work is consistency. It's not enough to say an affirmation once and expect a complete transformation. Just like building any other habit, positive affirmations require daily practice. Each time you speak these words, you are reinforcing a new belief, a new narrative about who you are and what you're capable of. Over time, these positive statements will become embedded in your subconscious, and you'll begin to act in alignment with them. For example, if you consistently affirm that you are confident, you will start to notice yourself behaving more confidently, making decisions with clarity, and approaching challenges with a positive attitude. But affirmations are not just about saying positive words. They're also about feeling them deeply. For affirmations to truly work, you need to connect with them emotionally. When you say, I am worthy, take a moment to really feel that truth in your body. Let it resonate deep within. Feel the confidence, the pride, and the belief in your own value. The more you connect emotionally with your affirmations, the more power they will have. This emotional connection helps to create a sense of ownership over the beliefs you're cultivating. Another important aspect of self-talk is self-compassion. We are often our own harshest critics, judging ourselves more severely than we would ever judge anyone else. But self-compassion teaches us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would extend to a friend. When negative thoughts arise, ask yourself, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, then why say it to yourself? Instead of criticizing yourself for making mistakes or experiencing setbacks, treat yourself with empathy. Acknowledge your efforts, recognize your progress, and encourage yourself to keep going. It's also important to replace self-criticism with constructive self-talk. Rather than focusing on what you've done wrong, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Or how can I improve moving forward? This shift in mindset helps you to grow and improve without being weighed down by unnecessary guilt or shame. Ultimately, self-talk and positive affirmations are not about denying reality or pretending that everything is perfect. They are about shifting your focus from your weaknesses to your strengths, from your limitations to your potential. By choosing to speak to yourself with kindness, compassion, and belief, you are setting the foundation for a life filled with possibility, resilience, and self-confidence. As human beings, we are inherently social creatures. We thrive in connection with others, and it's in times of struggle that we realize just how vital those connections are. Support and connection are not just nice-to-haves, they are essential to our emotional well-being and growth. When we face challenges or experience feelings of sadness, isolation, or fear, it can feel like we're carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. However, the truth is that we don't have to carry that weight alone. One of the first things to understand about support is that it's not a sign of weakness. In fact, reaching out for help requires great strength and vulnerability. It takes courage to admit that you need support, to acknowledge that you can't do everything on your own, and to open up to others. But that's exactly what we all need to do when we're feeling overwhelmed. It's okay to lean on others, to seek out a friend, a family member, or a professional who can provide guidance, comfort, or simply a listening ear. Connection with others offers a sense of validation. When we're feeling sad, we often question our experiences, our emotions, our thoughts, or even our worth. We may start to feel like we're alone in our struggles, that no one else understands or cares. But when we reach out and talk to others, we often realize that we're not alone. Others have been through similar experiences, and hearing their stories can remind us that we are not isolated in our pain. This sense of shared experience is incredibly healing. It helps us feel understood and less like we're broken or different. Instead, we see that struggle is part of the human condition, and in sharing our struggles, we find common ground. Moreover, support fosters a sense of hope. Sometimes when we're deep in the midst of difficulty, it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We get stuck in the moment, overwhelmed by our emotions and our circumstances. But when we connect with others, especially those who have gone through similar challenges, we are reminded that things can get better. We see that people who have experienced pain, setbacks, or loss have found ways to heal, rebuild, and grow. This glimpse into someone else's journey provides us with a powerful reminder that there is always hope, even when it feels distant. Connection gives us the strength to believe that we, too, can overcome our struggles. Support is also incredibly beneficial because it helps us gain perspective. When we're in the midst of a tough situation, it's easy to get lost in the details and become consumed by our emotions. Sometimes all we need is an outside perspective to help us see things more clearly. A supportive friend or mentor can offer insights that we might not have considered. They can provide clarity, help us reframe our situation, and remind us of the strengths and resources we possess, even if we can't see them in the moment. Another critical aspect of support is that it can provide practical assistance. While emotional support is invaluable, there are times when we need tangible help, whether it's someone assisting with daily tasks, offering advice, or simply helping us make decisions when we feel uncertain. This kind of practical support can relieve some of the stress we feel, allowing us to focus on what matters most, healing and moving forward. Additionally, connection can create a sense of belonging. When we feel disconnected from others, it can amplify feelings of loneliness and hopelessness. However, when we nurture our relationships and surround ourselves with people who genuinely care, we create a network of support that helps us feel anchored. This sense of belonging gives us emotional stability, providing a foundation that we can rely on during times of difficulty. Support and connection are not just about receiving help, they're also about giving it. Offering your support to others can be just as powerful as receiving it. When you show up for someone else, when you listen, care, and provide encouragement, you not only strengthen the bond between you and that person, but you also strengthen your own resilience. Helping others reinforces a sense of purpose, and it reminds us that we're part of something bigger than ourselves. It creates a ripple effect of kindness and compassion, benefiting both the giver and the receiver. In the end, we are all in this together. Life challenges are inevitable, but they are easier to face when we have people who care, who are willing to listen, and who offer their support. Building and nurturing these connections is one of the most important things we can do for ourselves and for others. Whether through words of encouragement, a shared moment of laughter, or a simple gesture of kindness, connection is the thread that binds us together and helps us navigate the toughest of times. When we face challenges in life, it's easy to get caught in a cycle of indecision or stagnation. We may feel overwhelmed by the obstacles in front of us, unsure of how to take the next step or where to begin. But one of the most powerful things we can do during difficult times is take action, even if it feels small, even if it feels uncertain. Taking action, no matter how minimal it may seem, is the key to breaking free from the paralysis that often accompanies hardship. It is through action that we move from a place of feeling stuck to a place of progress and growth. Taking action requires a shift in mindset. It's about choosing to focus on what you can control rather than what you can't. While you might not be able to change everything about your situation, there are always small steps you can take to move forward. Those small steps may not feel significant at first, but they build momentum. Each action you take, no matter how small, is a step toward reclaiming your sense of agency and control over your life. And over time, those small steps add up, creating meaningful progress. One of the most important aspects of taking action is breaking things down into manageable tasks. When we look at a challenge as a whole, it can feel insurmountable. Whether you're facing a personal crisis, trying to achieve a long-term goal, or simply dealing with the day-to-day pressures of life, the sheer scale of what you're facing can be overwhelming. This is when it's crucial to break things down into smaller, more achievable steps. Instead of thinking, I have to fix everything now, think, what is the first step I can take? By focusing on the immediate task at hand, you make the process feel less daunting. Each step taken is progress, and each step taken brings you closer to where you want to be. Another critical aspect of taking action is embracing imperfection. It's easy to wait for the perfect moment to act, to think that everything must be lined up perfectly before you can move forward. But perfection rarely exists in the real world. Waiting for everything to fall into place often leads to stagnation. Taking imperfect action is still action. It's about learning as you go, adjusting course when necessary, and not allowing fear or doubt to hold you back. By acting, even imperfectly, you allow yourself the space to grow, learn, and improve along the way. Taking action also requires embracing the idea of failure as part of the process. Failure is not something to be feared or avoided. It's an inevitable part of the journey toward success. When you take action, things may not always go as planned. You may encounter setbacks or challenges along the way. However, these experiences are opportunities to learn, adapt, and become better. Failure is simply feedback. It tells you what didn't work, allowing you to make adjustments and try again. The key is to not be discouraged by failure, but to see it as a valuable part of the growth process. Every step, even those that don't turn out as expected, is moving you closer to your goals. In addition to taking action, it's crucial to develop a forward-focused mindset. Often when we're facing difficulties, we get stuck in the past, worrying about mistakes we've made or opportunities we've missed. But the past is gone, and it's only the present and future that we can impact. By focusing on what's ahead of you rather than dwelling on what's behind you, you create space for possibilities and opportunities. It's about looking at the next step in front of you and asking yourself, what can I do now? This forward focus keeps you grounded in the present, which is the only moment where change can happen. A forward-focused mindset also involves building resilience and embracing persistence. Life doesn't always go according to plan, and there will undoubtedly be obstacles along the way. However, it's not about avoiding those challenges, but about developing the resilience to keep going despite them. Persistence is the fuel that keeps you moving forward when things get tough. Even when progress feels slow or when setbacks occur, persistence ensures that you don't give up. It is the belief that if you keep showing up, if you keep taking those small steps, you will eventually reach your destination. Finally, taking action and moving forward requires self-compassion. It's important to acknowledge that progress is not always linear. Some days will be harder than others, and you may encounter roadblocks that slow you down. On these days, it's essential to be kind to yourself. Don't judge yourself too harshly when things don't go as planned. Remember that moving forward doesn't mean being perfect. It means being persistent, staying open to learning, and continuing to take steps no matter how small. Self-compassion helps you stay motivated during tough times, and it encourages you to continue when the road feels uncertain.